Hello everybody and welcome to the HIV Conversations. It's lovely to see you all here. I'm joined today by Jean Hunt. Jean Hunt MBE originally began as a volunteer on the Tea Party once a week on the ward. The St Stephen's Volunteers now has developed into a team that provides services in 3 areas of the hospital. St Stephen's volunteer Jean Hunt was invited to Buckingham Palace on 6th of December 2007, where Her Majesty the Queen presented her with the MBE medal at the investiture ceremony. So Jean Hunt, lovely to have you here.
Thank you.
To start at the beginning, how did you first hear about HIV?
Well, I always read lots of newspapers. Every day I read newspapers, and I started to read about this mysterious illness that was affecting gay men in America. And I thought that my son might be gay at different times, and I felt really worried about it. So that was really what I was doing. But yes, yeah.
And you said you suspected your son was gay. Like, how did you find this out? Can you tell us the story about him and the vicar a trip to Mykonos?
Yes, well, about this time, the local vicar asked me if a young man could come and stay in a flat that I've got in my house, and because he was going to help in the church. Anyway, I said he could, and he moved into my house, and my son and him became friends. Then they were all out together, and then they decided they'd like to go on holiday. So they asked me if I would book the holiday for them on my what's the name? I can't remember the name. And so I said I would, and it was actually to Mykonos in Greece, and I was very innocent at that time. So anyway, I booked their holiday, and they went off away, and then they came back after a fortnight. They came back home, and he was still in the flat. Bruce was still in the flat, and later on, a few weeks later, there seemed to be an atmosphere in the house. It was strange, and Bruce came down to breakfast one morning, and he said, "Are you all right, Jean?" And I said, "No, I'm not." And he said, "Well, what's the matter?" So I said, "Well, there seems to be an awful atmosphere in this house at the moment, and I think it's because you and Thomas are gay, and you're sort of falling out, and it's going wrong." And he said, "Oh no," he was most shocked that I said this, and he assured me that that wasn't the case. But a week later, my son said it was the case, and he was gay. So I got really much more worried about this illness, and well, by then, you know, there was more things about it. So I was really worrying, and what I did, it was terrible of me, but I started to steal magazines from the local paper shop, and they were American magazines, and I used to read everything that I could about this illness, and then I would read it, and then I would take them back and put them on the shelves again because I didn't know what to do, but I didn't want to buy them because I was friends with them, and I thought, well, they'll either think that I'm gay or someone in the house was, but I just didn't know what to do. So that was what I was doing. But then in the early 80s, the first Englishman died of the illness, and that made me feel really much worse. And I don't know, I was really worrying. But eventually my son was found to be positive, And then I thought, well, I've got to do something about this, but I didn't know what I could do. Anyway, in the same church as who sent me this chap, um, there was a notice in the magazine asking for volunteers at St Stephen's Hospital to help with positive people. So I phoned them, and they asked me to come for a Saturday when I could learn a bit about it. And I went along, and the sister at the ward, she was there, and she asked if there was anyone who really enjoyed cooking, who would actually start a sort of a party once a week or twice a week, so that these patients who were all isolated in their rooms because nobody wanted to see them would come to it and mix with each other and have a bit of happiness and get to know each other. Anyway, she said, so I volunteered for that, and I started it the following week. And that's how it all started, really. I did the parties twice a week, and there's still patients coming in. I mean, this was 36 years ago, and there's still patients coming in who knew me then, because I used to make lovely things. I could make whatever I wanted, and there was another woman, she came to help me, and her husband was very rich, and he used to pay for all the food. And so I used to make wonderful things, and everyone really enjoyed them. So that was how it got started. And then later on, the Cobler Centre opened, and we managed to start something down there, and that's what we're doing now. You know, we're still doing that, and we're still doing things on the ward. We're trying to do them every week, but we don't always succeed every week, but every day. But we do the Cobler Centre every day. So that was that, really.
Brilliant. Thank you, Jean. You've answered about 5 of my questions in succession, which is brilliant. Thank you. Can you recount? You've been in St Stephen's Volunteers for is it 36 years?
Pardon? Sorry.
36 years.
Yes. Yeah. I think it's 36 years. I don't know any dates though.
Okay. Can you recount some of your highlights, some of your happiest memories?
Well, I suppose, of course, one night I was invited to a supper at Westminster Abbey, and it was the night that they asked Diana to come as well, and there was only about 12 of us, and she was really with us, and we had a lovely time, and we had supper together, and she was really funny, and kept making jokes and about herself and everything. It was wonderful. So there was that, and I suppose, what else was there? There was, of course, I got the MBE, which was thanks to Gordon. I think he was the one who sent in a really wonderful thing about me, which wasn't really, I mean, I didn't think that, but it was a big surprise, and that was it really. So.
And you went to Seattle?
Pardon? Oh, and we've got a sort of thing with Starbucks. They supply us with all our coffee, and for the ward. And I was invited to Seattle 2 years running with one of the directors and his partner, and so that was absolutely wonderful. Yes, I really enjoyed that.
Fantastic.
Yes. Yeah.
You said you bravely recounted about your son dying of HIV. Thank you for telling us that. But you said you're still best friends with your son's ex-lover.
Yes, I am.
Philip.
Yes.
Can you just tell us how that came about?
Well, I liked him from the start, and he was always at the house. And then when Thomas was very ill, I used to sleep at the hospital because Philip just he couldn't bear to be there, you know, because he was so worried, although he didn't think Thomas would die. But I felt that Thomas was going to die. And then one night he did, which was really it was really awful. Yes, yeah. But these things happen, don't they? I mean, but it was when I found out he was positive, I felt, really, really badly. But Philip and I have stayed friends all this time, and I see him every week, and it's really good. We're really good friends. I think because we both loved him, that's why we're friends. You know, yeah.
It's beautiful how that bond can form out of something tragic. And finally, before we open it up to the floor, why do you think the St Stephen's Volunteers is still so important today?
Well, I think the patients feel that we're friends, really, and I feel that we're friends, and I look forward to meeting them. And they also feel, I think, because it's not medical, they can say anything they like to us. And I mean, it's easier now because things are easier. But in the past, it was much more difficult for them, I think, to speak up, and it's been really good, and I think it's kept me going. So, you know, that's mainly what it is, really.
Thank you. So we've gone through my questions very quickly, but do we have any questions from the floor for Jean, or even memories? Like, I know we got some St Stephen's volunteers in here, and some work colleagues of Jean, memories.
I didn't tell you, you know, after we had the ward, because it used to always be on the ward, and then we opened up, and I had Gordon as my partner for 22 years, and I think I annoy him because I talk too much, but he does most of the work.
Okay.
But I really enjoy it, and you know, it's been really good for me.
As HIV has changed, from your observations of people in the Cobra Clinic, what is the main thing we can do to support patients getting older with HIV?
Well, I think because things are so good now, it's not the same, and I think a lot of things are being done for older people, which is very good. But it's wonderful to see people coming in still living well and being happy, you know. And I just enjoy seeing the patients and talking to them. I really enjoy it. Yeah.
What was it like for you in 1996?
Well, when I first started, practically all the partners because we always work in twos, and nearly all, I lost most of my partners, and I went to so many funerals. It was unbelievable. I was always sort of at funerals, and that's how it sort of went on for so long, but it's so different now. And I think by next year we'll have a cure.
Okay.
I hope so. I hope I'll be around to still see it, you know, because you sort of feel that things are going that way. So, yes, that's what I think, really.
And what do you think is the best thing about Chelsea and Westminster Hospital in general?
I think they've worked very hard, people there, to make things good for the patients, and I just feel that it's all happening for the good at the moment, and it's lovely to see people looking so well, and seeing older people too, because we never saw older people in the past. You know, they just didn't live that long. Sort of everyone seemed to die.
And so that gives you hope.
Oh yes, I've got great hope, but I hope I'll still be around to see the cure.
Fantastic.
But whether I will be or not, I don't know.
Well, I think we all hope that. And is there any other questions before we? Angela said thank you so much, because when she was working on the inpatient ward, it was the volunteers who were the absolute highlight of that ward, bringing around tea and drinks. So thank you so much. Thank you for.
Yeah. Thank you all. Yeah.
Thank you so much for getting up here and talking about it, because this is so important. Like, the event is for to spread information and education about living with HIV, about working with HIV, and about people whose lives have been affected by HIV. And not only has your life been affected by HIV, but you've given so much of your life to helping others living with HIV, and I think that's phenomenal. So
thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Jean Hunt, everybody.
Yeah. Thank you. Yes.
This gentleman thanked you for your hard work and said that he'll miss your cake on Mondays.
Thank you very much.